Something now, it's like I said.
All right, we're good now.
Okay, we're gonna start this over. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Howey-in-the-Hills Planning and Zoning Board meeting Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. Would everybody stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Josh, would you start us out with the roll call, please?
Josh Eastman, president.
Eric Bright, present.
Richard Mulvaney, present. Bruce Cornwall, present.
Tina St. Clair, present.
Paul Johns, present.
Okay. Alan Hayes is not here. Consent agenda. The first item is consideration and approval of the May 28, 2026 Planning and Zoning Board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, it's Paul.
Second.
Okay, Josh, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. New business. Number 2, consideration and recommendations. Regency at Lake Hills Clubhouse final site plan. Is April, the town planner, available?
Just 1 second.
Okay,
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair and board members.
just a moment, April. We're having.
Okay.
Just a second, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
All right, April, you can start again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. This item, of course, is the final site plan for the clubhouse at Regency at Lake Hills. They did have a DRC meeting and revised their plan based on some review comments. It's an interesting plan that provides for golf cart parking. This clubhouse is internal to the residents that will live there, and they've used golf cart parking for this type of amenity and are doing it here. So that was a little something different on the site plan. Additionally, they have provided architectural elevations so they can kind of do this in one fell swoop and not have to come back for that. We did review those and made sure that they were consistent with the land development code. And based on that, staff recommends approval of this application. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have, or the applicant can address it as well.
Is there an applicant here from the development? Would you please state your name and your address, please?
David Stokes, Madmore and Stokes, 431 East Horatio Avenue, Maitland, Florida.
Okay.
April is great to work with. We agree with her statements and the staff recommendation. We think this is a really nice amenity package for the community. And the golf cart is something that they are having for the community, as well as the future roundabout also has a golf cart connection across the road to Mission Inn as well. So we're trying to keep that golf court use theme in the community.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have questions for the gentleman from the development? No? Are there any questions or community comments at this time? Is there anyone online?
Few people.
Control Y, option Y, if you want to raise your hand to be unmuted. No? No? Okay, thank you, sir. If there are no questions, I'm going to close community comments. Bring it back to the board. We're looking for a recommendation.
I'll recommend approval of the final site plan for Regency at Lake Hills Clubhouse to Town Council.
No second.
Okay, so Richard second, Josh made the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, sir. Madam Town Planner, do you want to go over consideration and recommendation watermark Stonehill, the PUD amendment?
Yes, thank you so much. So this is a project, I believe at your last meeting or the previous meeting, the board approved the architectural elevations for this development. As part of that, it included some elevations for homes that are larger than 3,500 square feet. And this is the development where the PUD defined that certain lots could not have homes larger than 3,500 square feet. So the applicant is proposing to amend the PUD to remove that restriction. They have different house models that support the intent of the PUD, that houses not just look like a big box, but they actually have architectural relief and design that's pleasing. So their request is based on the support of those architectural elevations that this maximum square footage be lifted. Reviewing their application, staff supports that. You know, if the design of the building can be sensitive to the intent of what the town wants, then it makes sense that they could go larger if they have a product that is something that the market wants. So based on that, we are recommending approval. The applicant would also like to address the board and make a presentation if you would like. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, or if you'd like to hear from the applicant, that would be great too.
Is the applicant here? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hi, Malaya Smith-Ferguso, 4901 Vineland Road, Orlando, Florida. I'm with Pulte Homes.
Okay,
Carrie Tucker, same address.
okay.
So we have this presentation. If you guys see fit, we're happy to present it, or if you guys just want to get right into questions, we're happy to do that as well.
I'd say we want to see the
Yeah,
presentation,
absolutely.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah, as April mentioned, this is for the Watermark PUD. We've renamed it to Stonehill, and that's going to be the community name. As she described, we're just requesting an amendment to the existing PUD to permit 3,500 square foot homes out here. We knew it was a restriction of the existing PUD due to, as April mentioned, that big stucco box look. So we've worked with April and her team diligently to make sure that we're providing some pleasing design elements to make sure that we get away from that big stucco box feel. So here's the site map, and this just kind of gives you guys an idea of where we're at. We're at the southeast corner of Rebels Road and 19, I believe. I'm sure you all are familiar with
Yeah.
it. A lot of trucks out there right now.
And so when we're looking at this, explain to us what we're actually looking at insofar as, I see we up at the top have the 70-foot, 80-foot, and then quarter-acre lots.
Correct.
They're in different color codes. So you're proposing that the 3,500 square feet homes can go on any of those lots?
Yes, so long as they fit based off of your all setback requirements within the building pads that are allowed.
Yeah, typically the additional square footage is already within the footprint of the building, so we're
Now, explain to me what you mean by that, because I'm assuming
Right.
they're 2 stories, right?
Yes.
In order to be able to get the square footage.
Mhm.
So what are you saying that they're typically already, that square footage is already there?
for instance, our Roseland plan has a 2-story gathering room that has a loft space that can take over that open to above space, and that adds additional square footage. We also have options that can go into garage space to take over square footage that was still within the footprint of the building, but adds air conditioned square footage.
So for instance, if you've got the garage that's sticking out, you're saying you would actually build over the garage? Is that what you're?
So we just have larger garage spaces, and people buying homes can say, oh, I like having a larger garage space with storage, or I'm going to eat into that with living space and add an additional living room area.
Does the board have any questions for the developer?
Oh, we've got elevations too, if you want to skip to the next one. This one
Okay.
we'll kind of show you. So these are 2 different elevations. And so the Monroe, for example, is under 3,500 square foot, where the Roseland, for example, is over 3,500 square foot. And you can kind of tell from looking on the outside, you wouldn't really know that it was greater than 3,500 square foot based off of the 2 different homes. And we're happy to answer any questions that we have. We've got floor plans available on other slides if you guys are interested in seeing them as well.
So currently on the 70 and 80-foot lots, what is your square footage parameters, what's the maximum you could do if we don't approve this?
3,500,
3,500 could go on the 70 and the 80.
correct.
But if we approve it, you can do
Greater than
over.
that.
Yeah.
And I think, what's the largest we have out here?
Looks like it's 4,800 for the Roseland.
But that's with all the structural.
Yeah, that's with
options that we
everything.
include, yeah.
And we do expect this to be a more luxury buyer that does want a larger home, and kind of more of those build outs and add-ons.
My only concern is, we get a lot of people coming to us and want amenities in their backyards. And we start putting bigger houses on 70 and 80 foot lots. We're gonna have more variances come to us for that particular community.
Yeah.
Um,
So we have these things that we do called lot fits. So when the buyer comes in, it shows exactly what house can fit with what pool within their backyard. So they know flat out, hey, if you get this Roseland on this lot, it won't fit a 15 or 20 foot pool. Says it straight up. And then there are some lots where you can fit a Roseland because we've got those quarter acres. So if that person is like, oh, I want a pool, these are the lots that you can select from where you can get the largest house and a pool option.
First time buyer, I could understand that. The buyer that buys that house for the first time,
Yes.
it's a second time person that doesn't understand what they're buying.
Understood.
You're gonna tell the first time buyer
Mm-hmm.
what can be available or what can be put on that lot. Second time buyer, you won't.
Yeah.
And
Understood.
then they're gonna come to
Seeking a
us.
variance
Right,
for the
for
second.
variance. That would be my only concern with
Understood.
allowing bigger houses on smaller lots.
The question I did have, and maybe I didn't see it in the paperwork. So I see on the product lineup, the product line, you have the 40s, the 50s, the 54s. What is the width and depth of this? So that's the width.
Yeah.
So that's the actual width of the house.
Correct.
So like a 54 on a 70 might not work based on
Building setback.
right. So obviously, and you already brought up that you have to meet the side setbacks. Do we know the depth of these, as Richard brought up with pools?
Yes, we do. We have percentages and we have lot fits that are done that will tell you exactly where you could put a 15 foot pool or a 20 foot
Okay.
pool. And it takes into account any structural options that may extend the back of the house. So we have all that information.
And I live in Talashe, which is the big army barrack blocks. And I personally, I get it. Like my house, I have just over 3,500 square feet. My house has a lot of architectural. It's not one of the boxes. So the first thing I looked at was all the renderings and I liked how it seemed every side of the house had peaks, valleys, differences, and it's not a giant Lego block. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I believe the intent behind this from town council for the 3,500 square feet was to not have the Lego blocks like Talashe. I'm damn near positive that's what it was. They didn't want army barracks. They didn't want Lego blocks. They wanted the peaks which right there you see, to me, the Roseland actually looks more appealing than the Monroe does. That's me personally. But the Monroe's allowed on the smaller lots, whereas the Roseland wouldn't be. And again, when we go back to the product lineup here, the Roseland's 50 and the Monroe's 50. So it's the same footprint. It's the exact same width. It might be slightly deeper, but I assume they were all 70 by, I think the smallest was 70 by 120.
Correct.
Right. That's your smallest lot.
Yeah, we wouldn't go outside of that just because of the
Right.
3,500 square feet.
Absolutely.
Single stories that also fit within that building
Mhm.
as well.
I mean, that's my personal take is I know council's probably going to beat them up over it, but I think the original intent was not to have the boxiness. And I think based on their renderings, I mean, you look at these, and like you said, my biggest concern when I looked at that Roseland was like, okay, what does it look like? Or even the Stellar, when you look at that off, like if you look at the front and the side and all that, it has plenty of peaks, plenty of valleys. There's plenty of trim.
You want me to skip forward to whichever one he's talking about?
It's at the bottom there.
The Roseland.
No, he said.
The Stellar. The Stellar was
That's-
one. That was one at the very bottom.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, it's got plenty of different architectural design to it. It's not a giant box.
Different elevations and that.
Right. And that's the thing to me is I think the initial intent was let's not make these giant blocks. Cause not gonna lie, I wouldn't buy one of the blocks in Talashe. I mean, we have a 5,000 square foot house in there. I wouldn't buy it because it does. It literally looks like somebody took Legos and pieced it together. But these don't look like that. That was my 2 cents.
Okay, well, you turn
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Any other board discussion for the?
So this is asking for, whereas this had a 3,500 square foot limit. The request is for no limit.
Correct.
At this time, I'll open it up for community comment. If you have a comment, please come forward, state your name and your address, limited to 3.
No, it's fine.
Is there any, if you're online, if you want to make a comment, please do option Y or control Y to raise your hand.
Hi, everybody. Leslie Manning, 111 East Holly Street. My concern is, as Richard said, and down the road, when they're going to want to ask for variances for pools, so we need to make sure that they really educate the buyer. Personally, I'd like to see the bigger house only on the quarter lot, the quarter acre. I just shudder. Yeah. Richard, did you want to say something? I thought you were
Might
going to
not
say
be-
something.
Yeah, no matter how much they educate the buyer, second time
It's a
buyer,
second buyer, right? The second
they
time,
don't have
right?
control over.
But
so.
yeah, that's a big house on a small
Yep.
lot. Yeah,
Agree.
thank you.
Thank you. Any additional community comment? Anyone online, option Y, control Y, raise your hand. John, do I have anyone? No. At this time, I'll close community comment and ask for a motion.
If I can just add one thing there, I know in Talashe and I think in Venezia as well, one of the biggest problems for those, and we have 70 by 120s mostly, or 75 by 120s, was the Avalon model. So the Avalon is 50 wide, but it's like 70 deep. So you take the 70 deep and you set it back 25, you're now at 95. And I don't know if there's any that, do you have any that are that deep? Do you know? Because I know you have a 50, 54, but I don't know if there's like,
95 feet deep for the floor.
well, so ours, like my house is 70 foot deep, the actual footprint of the house. It's 50 by 70. So prime is like the 54. So the Stellar or even the Roseland, it's 50 wide. Do you know how deep it is by chance?
We might have that on the presentation.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember off the top of our head.
No, and that's, I tried to look in
Yeah.
there to find those things.
Yeah.
I just didn't see them anywhere.
One thing,
That doesn't have it.
no, maybe the next one will have some of the floor plans on it. Yeah, one thing that I would say, yeah, those don't have.
I promise I looked through all of it. I couldn't see depth.
Wait, yeah, one thing that I will say though is we're not requesting any deeper of a house.
Okay.
For example, a lot of our single story houses already are the full depth of that building pad anyway. This would just be the 2-story houses, and like she said, adding in second story living over where it would previously be open to the roof, things like that.
So we're not going out and back, we're going up.
Up.
Okay. Yeah, that was being my, and I think Richard, that kind of alludes to your point of the footprint of the house.
Yeah.
Oh,
the-
sure.
Are you saying the footprint for the single story homes are roughly the same as these larger houses?
Correct. Most of them are the same. So like for the Stellar Grand, for example, we have the Stellar, which is the single story, and then we do the Stellar Grand, which has the second story on it. So
And
it's just,
and the
So it adds 1,000 square foot up upstairs.
To your point, Josh, I have the Avalon 2,
Mhm.
50 by 72.
Yeah.
And I'm still able to get a pool in the back, but I had to put a retaining wall.
Mhm.
But there are some, obviously, some lots are just,
Yep.
as hard as they would try, they're not going to be able to, it's that size of home. We have probably one of the larger homes in Venezia.
Yeah.
So.
No, and that was
But
exactly,
I
I'm
think
just
same thing here.
thinking of the people I know of in Talashe and Venezia. I believe it was the Lucians that came here. They had an Avalon. I can think in 3 or 4 in Talashe that asked for variances. They were all Avalons, and they were that 70 to 73 foot deep.
Yeah.
That's why it asked about the size. Because again, when you look at like the big blocks that are in there, they're wide, but they still meet side setbacks, but they're not deep. They're just giant blocks. I mean, like that 5,000 square footer, it is like 2,500 up and down. But depth wise, you could probably put a water park in there on most of those lots.
Yeah.
Because they're not that deep. So yeah, that was my biggest concern was just the depth. But I do think when you look at this, all of them, the
Going
width
up
is,
and sit out.
yeah, they're going up and sit out. And that's, and again, I totally understand why they put it in the PUD, the agreement there. But again, I think as long as they're going up and they're staying with the architectural design and not blocking them, that's not a bad thing.
Would agree.
I guess my concern still remains the same, really, that it's just open-ended. Whereas before there was a definitive size and now there's no definitive size.
Yeah, I will say that
Prevent someone from just, what prevents you from building a 6,000 square foot home?
we are,
So-
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
we are restricted to the homes that we showed you guys and you guys have approved. And April.
Yeah,
can
they can't do
confirm
anything
that.
off this list.
Okay,
That
yeah,
product
I
line.
want this, the way this thing's
Yeah,
written right here,
yeah.
it says
Correct.
we want to eliminate this 3,500 square foot. If they had that before, then I would think it should be
Oh.
replaced with whatever
So what is
the
the biggest,
maximum is.
what
So,
is the biggest house that you
40
have square
yeah,
foot?
4,200
Okay.
roughly.
I mean, I'd feel better if it said 2,200, you know what I'm saying?
This chart, I think, shows
Yeah, I think
48.
it's
48, Roseland, yeah, 48 is the top.
You know, just if it had a limit before, I think it should be written pretty much the same way.
Any additional comment?
Well, and not necessarily maybe restricted or put size in there, but indicate that it shouldn't be any more than what's been approved in terms of the house.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying.
instead
This
of
just
a
needs
die-
no open-ended the way it's written here.
So you're saying instead of lifting the 3,500 square foot, say, we would recommend that they allow the larger homes on any lot, but
Up to what's
Up
been
to-
approved.
to what has been approved.
Exactly.
Like, we're not going to approve a 6,000 square foot.
Exactly.
But that's the thing is they would have to come back to
They
us.
have to go back then.
And I don't think they go to town council for that. So they come back and say, hey, we want a 6,000 per square foot house. And we're like, no.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
You know.
Really, it's just a wording thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Semantics.
Any additional comments? At this time, we'll close comments. I'm looking for a motion, please.
I'll try and word it with how he wants. So I'm going to recommend approval of the watermark PUD amendment to remove the 3,500 square foot maximum home size restriction to town council, but add that it is only based on currently approved homes, which would be a max of 4,800 square feet if that makes everybody, I don't know if we need to add that, but basically it's what's approved there.
April, do you have any suggestion on the wording?
I think that's fine. I think I would specifically call it the approved architectural elevations.
Okay, so I will revise that last sentence to be but they're required to use the currently approved architectural elevations.
Thank
For
you.
Clarification, that means this footprint can't get bigger
Without approval.
Correct.
without.
Yeah, without approval.
Okay.
Yeah, because we approved those. So if you go past
4,800.
4,800 or even try to go to a 60-foot house, that's not approved right now.
Correct.
At this time, I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, so
Oh,
Paul, second, roll call vote, Josh,
Yes.
Eric, yes.
Richard, yes.
Bruce, yes.
Tina, no.
Paul, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the fourth item on the agenda is consideration and recommendation. Phase 4B final subdivision plans for Hillside Groves.
Yes, thank
April?
you. This item did go to DRC review and had engineering and planning comments. The applicant did revise their plans to address those comments, particularly dealing with tree types and some other infrastructure items. So based on the revisions to these plans, staff is recommending approval. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I'm not sure if the applicant is there to address anything.
Is the applicant here? Please state your name and your address.
Search yourselves on Meritage Homes, 5337 Millennium Lakes Boulevard, Orlando, Florida.
Okay,
And Justin's our engineer who should be online as well.
okay. So at this time, is there anything you want to add to what April just said?
No, ma'am.
No? Are there any board questions for the developer in regards to?
I do have one. So I noticed, I believe all the trees that were slated for this were the southern magnolia. Is there a reason they didn't consider with the smaller lot sizes, the Sweet Bay? Only because the southern I know gets 60 to 80 and that Sweet Bay will stay, I believe, 25 and under.
I know Justin was helping out. Justin, are you able to answer that for us?
Yes, so they have the Southern Magnolia and also the live oaks as well. I can't comment on the reason for the selection of the size, but that's the two that are on this phase.
And Justin, would you please state your name for us?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, this is Justin Williams. I'm with Prime AE, and I am the engineer of record.
Thank you. Any additional board questions? To Joshua's point, with the size of the lots and the size of the potential growth of the trees, who would be the person to look at that and figure out whether it's truly feasible?
Our landscape architect,
Okay,
we could certainly ask.
okay. Would you do that for us, please?
ma'am.
That would be
Mind,
great.
Joshua sending me an email, I'll give him my email and just put it
Okay.
in writing.
Yep. Yeah, no, not a problem. Yeah, my concern is again, I had this pie-shaped lot and I had a live oak and I know I took it out immediately. And of course, here comes code enforcement hitting me. And again, I would say the southern magnolia, I think, is better than the live oak. But a southern magnolia is a big, big tree. And I think it was you that your live oak, you weren't even there, what, 6 months? Went right through his plumbing, his main sewer line. Whereas the Sweet Bays don't have the same footprint. I mean, they'll go up a little, but they're not. It's basically a baby magnolia. I think it's called the baby gem as another word for it. But at least that way, the homeowners aren't going to run into problems.
Ugly tree.
Right. I personally wouldn't want to put one in myself, but if my option is put in the ugly tree or put in one that's going to tear up my plumbing, I'm putting in an ugly tree.
Yeah.
Well, and don't they have a lot of like pods and stuff that drop?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
I know.
The southern magnolia does too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, personally, I would think if you've got a little lot, I don't want to go around picking up those pods before I have to mow my lot. I just really think maybe if you guys could go back and look at that.
Sure. Usually our landscape architects always follow the code, right? And they abide by what's required. So I will certainly ask.
Code is a very limited number of trees.
No,
Yeah.
I've seen that, but I'm just saying, is there something that's maybe more smaller that doesn't have debris
Do we,
that you could look at and?
sorry to interrupt you. Do you know the setback of the homes by chance? I only ask because in the code, if you measure, so like I'm looking here, if you measure from the inner part of the sidewalk at the street to the front of the house, if it's under 26 feet, you're actually permitted to do a different type of tree. You're not required to do any of the main big canopies. And I'm pulling it up right now just to make sure, because anything under 20 feet is not required to have a front tree. And anything between 20 and 26, you can use a single trunk crepe myrtle, purple leaf plum, the Sweet Bay magnolia, which is why I brought that up, a Chickasaw plum, or a weeping bottle brush. And the intent behind that in the code was those trees don't have roots that seek water. And they don't get monstrous, but they're still going to get 20, 25, maybe even 30 feet, and they'll provide the shade that they're looking for. So I guess my question would be, if we know that setback on the house, we could determine.
The front, this is Justin. The front setback is 20 feet. And I might point out that the southern magnolias are generally only used in the common areas, and in front of the lots, we've got the live oaks. Now there is one lot that does have a southern magnolia at either side of it, but the remainder of the lots have the live oak in front of it.
Yeah, I think that's gonna run into problems for the homeowners. But if it's a 20-foot setback, then I would assume,
Well, where are you getting 20 feet? On page L1.20, it says typical 25-foot setback.
but that's 25 from the street or the sidewalk. Do we know?
It's from the right
It
of
would
way
be
line.
Sidewalk.
Yeah,
From
it'd
the
be
right
from
of
the property line. The setback.
Okay,
would
so
be from the
basically that should be the inside of the sidewalk then,
Correct.
correct? So if they're 25 feet, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, April, but if they're at 25 feet, they would be permitted to use like the single trunk crepe myrtles.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I mean, one of the things that you could do if you wanted to recommend approval, a possible motion could be that recommend approval with the those particular trees being able to meet that section of code. Because there is the
Okay.
ability, yeah, there is the ability if there's a substantiation of a different type of tree based on what works best in practice, that the town can consider that. So that could be a way you could do the motion without it having to come back to you with that specific answer.
Thank you. I do think the other thing is honestly, y'all find out that putting in a bunch of single trunk crepe myrtles is probably a whole heck of a lot cheaper than with other magnolias. So at the end of the day, you're probably going to save money. And as someone that experienced a problem with a tree in my front yard, I know the first thing I did was chop it down, and town was here right away. Bee boo, telling me I was naughty. And I don't, a lot of people, I'm very well versed in the code, and I know a lot of people aren't. So
Right.
there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna take it out right away. And the second you take it out, code enforcement's gonna be there and be like, nope, you have to have it for the tree. Whereas at least if they have that single trunk crepe myrtle or one of those other four, then there's no reason really to take it out because they're not gonna run into issues.
Any additional board comments, questions? At this time, I'll open it for community comment, please. If you're online, option Y or control Y. Anyone online, John? Pardon me. At this time, I'll close community comment and open it to the board for a motion.
Guess I'll run with this one too. All right, give me a second. So I will recommend approval of the final subdivision plan for Hillside Groves Phase 4B to Town Council with the change of reviewing the live oak and southern magnolia placement in the front yards, as long as they meet code, that they could use one of the 5 approved trees based on the 20 to 26 foot front plane to sidewalk, which is the Natchez crepe myrtle single trunk, purple leaf plum, sweet bay magnolia, Chickasaw plum, or weeping bottle brush. Hopefully that makes sense.
That was a perfect way to say it.
Perfect.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Eric, second. Roll call vote, please.
Josh, yes.
Eric, yes.
Richard, yes.
Bruce, yes.
Tina, yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too. At this time, we'll open the floor for any public comments. Come forward, state your name, your address. You have 3 minutes to speak. If you're online, it's control Y or option Y to raise your hand. At this time, we will close community comments. Are there any board comments? At this time, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.